What is going on, guys? Today I'm back with another NBA 2K15 rebuilding my league here. And in this one we're going to be using the Houston Rockets, and if I kind of sound like I already know what's going to happen, the audio file got like screwed over, like corrupt or something like that, and I'm just going to be commentating as this goes. I edited it down for you guys, and the big twist here is we're doing a fantasy draft. I thought I would switch it up, and I would also like to know, let me know in the comments if you like to see this or if you want me to go back to the regular format. But I was thinking for like the better teams in the NBA, I could rebuild them, do a fantasy draft, and for like the not so good teams in the NBA, I could just rebuild them from scratch. But yeah, so we had like the 25th pick, I believe, and you had Tim Duncan, Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, but one person that caught my eye was Jimmy Butler, sitting there at the shooting guard position, 85 overall, 24 years of age. And I was scrolling through here, maybe Mike Conley, you had Rudy Gay, but at the end of the day, I ended up going with Jimmy Butler, but I saw here that Mike Conley and Jimmy Butler had the same exact pose, but I do take Jimmy Butler, and since it's like Serpentine, I do get, I believe, the 5th pick of the next round, or the 4th, and when this pick, I went to a big man, because this draft really didn't have a lot of centers. I wasn't really deep in the center position, so I ended up going with Jonas Valanciunas, 84 overall, 22 years of age, I believe that said, or 24. But maybe, like, I saw Kobe there, but Kobe was gonna be bad after the first season yet. But 22 years of age, 84 overall, I ended up going with Jonas Valanciunas. So heading into the 3rd round, it wasn't for a while that I picked, and with my 3rd round pick, I saw Draymond Green was still there, and I was like, really? And then I saw Tim Duncan, Dirk, and then Draymond Green, 24 years of age, 82 overall, great defender, great all-around player as well. I know he's a free agent, but he's a restricted one, and we draft him with our 3rd round pick. So we head into the 4th round here, needing a point guard, and I saw Rondo, Reggie Jackson, or Ricky Rubio. I was kind of torn which one to pick, but I was kind of looking down, maybe small forwards, because we didn't have one yet. Iguodala, Joe Johnson, with a bunch of like veterans that are really making a lot of money. And then I was like, maybe Alfred Payton, Michael Carter Williams, Ricky Rubio, Patrick Beverly, Rondo. And then I saw Rondo's contract, but I was like questioning it. But at the end of the day, I do end up drafting Rajon Rondo with our 4th round pick. Heading into the 5th round, we needed a small forward to start for us. And that small forward you'll see there in a second. Danilo Gallinari is a small forward we end up drafting, really the best one available by far. And we end up drafting him. I know he has a big contract, but he is a good player nonetheless. So, kind of need a 6th man here. We sorted it by overall. I was looking, I liked Larry Sanders was still there, and I picked him up. He's a free agent at the end of this year, but I do plan on signing him, Draymond Green, and Butler, who are all free agents. And after this, I thought that I wanted to trade Rajon Rondo. So you will see that later in the video. So here we need a backup point guard we're looking at, but maybe a backup shooting guard. I see Aaron Aflalo is still there in KG, but I ended up going with Aaron Aflalo. And then we're back on the clock. And then Kevin Garnett is still there. And I'm liking to see Kevin Garnett. And I know he's a 77, he's 38, but 77 overall can give good he can contribute really well into the season 1, and maybe we could trade him. But I think he had a no trade clause, so that really, you threw that idea out the window. And maybe I was thinking Sean Marion, Vince Carter. I ended up going Sean Marion. And with our 9th round pick, we didn't pick a long time after the 8th round pick. I keep eyeing Kevin Garnett and Steve Nash, bunch of veterans here. Andre Miller, Jared Jack, Nate Robinson, Calderon, Felton. And I see Langston Galloway all the way down there. And then I draft Langston Galloway. And I keep seeing Kevin Garnett is still on the board. And I was like him or Reggie Evans, because the salary cap wise or situation. And I ended up drafting Kevin Garnett finally in the 9th round or 10th round. Now we head into the 11th round with our pick. We kind of needed a backup small forward, so I took Vince Carter, and then to end the draft, we need a backup power forward. I ended up drafting Udonis Haslem. I could have went with AK-47, Andre Kirilenko, but I end up drafting Udonis Haslem, as you will see in a second. And there it is. So we're was that our last pick, or do we have one more? No, that was our last pick. Alright, so we're here at the deadline, actually, and I'm looking for trades with Rondo, and the only good one was pretty much the Michael Conley one from the Nuggets, so I ended up doing that trade, and we got Michael Conley. So you see it at the end of Season 1. Russell Westbrook for the Sixers is your 2015 MVP winner. 30 points a game, almost 10 boards and 10 assists. That's insane stats. Marcus Smart of the Bucks wins Rookie of the Year. And he also wins Sixth Man of the Year. That was pretty crazy to see. Anthony Davis of the Jazz wins Defensive. Jimmy Butler from the Houston Rockets wins Most Improved Player. And Brett Brown of the Sixers wins Coach of the Year. The only way he'll win Coach of the Year in any situation. All-NBA First Team, LeBron with the Thunder. KD with the Spurs. The only player that like stick with their team was Stephen Curry, was drafted I think with like the 3rd pick by the Warriors. And yeah, we were fighting off some injuries here to start the playoffs. And looking at the Warriors team who were taking on in round 1, they have Kobe, Stephen Curry, Tyson Chandler, and just setting the rotation since Gallinari's hurt, and Butler was not able to play for the first 1 to 2 weeks. So game 1, we actually come out on top, and come out on top game 2, and then game 3 Warriors win, game 4 Warriors win. We win game 5. We're all tied up at 7, all tied up at 3 games apiece, I should say. We did get Jimmy Butler and Danilo Gallinari back, and game 7, we ended up surprisingly upsetting the 2 seed. So honestly, we could have been a higher seed. It's just the whole year we're fighting off injuries, and actually, we're taking on the Grizzlies in the next round, and they actually drafted Zach Randolph. So first game we win, second game they win, third game we win, fourth game they win, fifth game they win, but sixth game we win, and we're going to another game 7, and we upset them as well. So we're heading to the Western Conference Finals to take on the Sacramento Kings, and we actually might have a legitimate shot at winning the title in our Season 1. So we're taking on Chris Paul, Pau Gasol, Lou Williams, Tobias Harris, Ed Davis, Chris Kaman, Brandon Wright, and Mecca Okafor. So a pretty good team, to say the least. And Jonas Valanciunas was shaken up with a pulled hamstring. But I still think we can actually pick up the W. It really didn't affect his playing time. So game 1 against the Kings, they come out on top. And I didn't actually mean to simcast that. So game 2, we come out on top. So we're all tied up at 1. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we win. So it's 3-1, and we win in 5 games. And we're taking on who else but the Pacers. The one team I can't beat in 2K when it comes to simulation. I just can't. But this is not the Pacers team. But actually, I stand corrected from before when I said that Curry was the only one drafted by the original team. Of course, they draft Paul George, Kemba Walker, Wesley Matthews, Thiago Splitter. And yeah, so 7 seed against a 1 seed. Game 1, they win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Game 4, they win. Game 5, they win. Game 6, we win. And we're going to a Game 7. And this is when I simcast it. So Game 7 against the Pacers. What are the odds that I could finally beat the Pacers, especially in Season 1 of this rebuilding series with the fantasy draft? But not the best second quarter. We fell out to a pretty bad lead at halftime. Third quarter is really when they pulled away, and we ended up getting blown out in Indiana, and Indiana won the NBA title in 7 games, and I was pretty pissed because I can't beat the Indiana Pacers in 2K for some reason. It's just so annoying. And yeah, so Jimmy Butler got hurt in that final game with a bruised hip. He was out for the season, but that didn't matter. So yeah, we're going to be advancing into the offseason. I was still wondering how we lost. I just didn't know how. But I was also wondering if Jimmy Butler played that final game. So yeah, Paul George wins MVP with 24 points a game. Here are your retirees. We have actually had 3. Vince Carter, Shawn Marion, and Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, Nash, Carter, and Allen are all going to the Hall of Fame. So here we go. Our re-signings. We re-signed or we offer Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and Langston Galloway, and we will later offer Larry Sanders. And I didn't have a first-round pick. I had the 20th pick of the second round, so I'm like, you know what? I just want to keep this core together. I want to re-sign everybody and come back and win the finals next year. And I didn't plan on trading up or anything, so I just, simulated. We got Andre McDonald with our second-round pick. And then here, we're going to be bringing back Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and Langston Galloway. And yeah, so this is the free agent class, kind of the normal standard free agent class. And I had no cap space, so I'm like, I got bird rights on Larry Sanders. Let me bring him back, and I do that myself. So we're just going to be simulating here. I go to, I sorted by age, and since we needed like 3 more roster spots, I just signed like the oldest guys. Pablo Prigioni, who was a Rocket this year, as he was traded from the Knicks. Melvin Eli and Birdman, Chris Anderson. He'll get partnered up with Udonis Haslem this year. So you see we signed them, or we couldn't sign Chris Anderson actually. So player progression, Michael Conley's an 89, Jonas Valanciunas 87, Draymond Green 86, Butler stayed at an 86, or you can see in the top left he's an 86. Larry Sanders 80, Gallinari 78, Aflalo 77, and Galway 74, and everybody else pretty much went down. So here were our training camps. Perimeter shooting, I sent Jimmy Butler to, and then on tap potential, I ended up sending Mike Conley because it said he had a B+, but for some reason when I send him to untapped potential, he already had an A, so I don't get that. And then I also sent untapped potential to somebody else, and that was going to be Draymond Green, and he was already an A-, so that really didn't mean the purpose for doing that. But here's our rotation for the year, giving most of the minutes of the starting lineup. Larry Sanders is going to be our 6th man, and we're going to have to rely on this starting lineup. And yeah, so you can see the same pose from Mike Conley and Rick and Jimmy Butler. It's so funny how they do that in 2K. But yeah, so the end of season 2, James Harden of the Pistons wins MVP. That's kind of surprising to see him in a Pistons uniform. Rookie of the Year, Towns with the Suns wins Rookie of the Year. Darren Collison wins 6th Man of the Year with the Suns. So the Suns take home those 2 awards. Joel Embiid, Defensive Player with the Thunder. Shabazz Napier with the Suns. So the Suns take home 3 awards. Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, and 6th Man of the Year. And then Doc Rivers of the Pistons wins Coach of the Year. So Jimmy Butler made all defensive first team, and Draymond Green made all defensive second team. I saw that we had a bunch of injuries, and I was like, nah, I'm not going through this again. So I went to my league settings, and I turned injuries off. It's just like we would not win a title this year if we didn't have Gallinari or Larry Sanders. So they ended up getting back healthy right away. And yeah, so actually Gallinari wasn't able to play, and Sanders was like injured. His overall went down 4 as morale or whatever, and by the time I simulated game 1, they were back in the lineup. You'll see in a second. But we're taking on the Spurs. We were the 2nd seed, they are the 7th seed, and we'll see who the Spurs have here in a second. So they had Kevin Durant, Chris Bosh, Nene, Griffiths Vasquez. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get Kevin Durant cheese here in round 1. But after game 1, you see that we get Sanders and Gallinari back. We win game 1. We win game 2. We win, Spurs win game 3. We win game 4, and we end up winning in 5 games. I'm like, what? We just got through with Kevin Durant, and guess who we have to play in the next series? Find out in a second. We have to play. We're playing the Thunder, and yeah. We have to play LeBron James, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Joel Embiid, freaking Bradley Beal, Michael Carter-Williams, Isaiah Caddy, Delon Wright, Trevin Booker, J.R. Smith. I'm like, no way. We're going to get swept. This team is insane. I don't know how they were the 5th seed or whatever the seed that is. I can't really see it. But we ended up winning in 5 games once again. I'm like, what? And then we're taking on the Kings again, who we played in the Western Conference Finals last year. And Jimmy Butler is killing it. And same with Gallinari here in the playoffs. And you'll see who the Kings have. Or I showed it again. But yeah, just going through our roster. Draymond Green only averaging like 7.5 points, but he's doing well defensive wise. So here the Kings roster still had Chris Paul, but they brought over G Wade, I guess in a trade in the offseason. Tobias Harris, Ed Davis, Brandon Wright, Frank Kaminsky, Frank the Tank, Paul Gasol, and yeah. So let's see here. Game 1, we end up losing. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we win. And game 5. So every one of our series so far, we have won it in 5 games. And now we're taking on the Nets in the finals, who have Blake Griffin, Brandon Jennings, D'Angelo Russell, Dion Waiters, Wilson Chandler, Andrew Bogut, OJ Mayo. I guess that was Marcus Morris or Markieff Morris. So they're the 5th seed. We're the 2 seed. Once again, we're the 2 seed. Or no, last year we were the 7th seed. So we're up. It's all tied 2-2. They're up 3-2. We force another game 7 in the finals. And this one, I'm going into Stimcast, and I end up hopping into this game. And we were killing it right now. We had 20 seconds left. Jonas Valanciunas hits a layup right there off the Jimmy Butler pass. But we finally were able to win a title. The Pacers always, I don't know why I can't beat them, but I just can't. And we are able to beat the Brooklyn Nets in the 2016 NBA Finals with the fantasy draft. So yeah, I got a goaltending right there with Draymond Green. But with the team of Fantasy Draft, we drafted Rondo, but traded him at the deadline for Michael Conley, Jimmy Butler, Danilo Gallinari, Draymond Green, Jonas Valanciunas, Larry Sanders, Aaron Aflalo, and that's pretty much it. Like Pablo Prigioni, and Langston Galloway. But yeah, that is it. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more fantasy drafts in general, or just only for the good teams, or you want me to go back to the regular one of just doing it with the default rosters. But yep, that is going to be it for the video. I'll let you guys see the celebration, and that'll be it for me. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, and yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video.